I didn't used to really love drawing on the Supernote platform, but now, has it actually caught up with the best ink tablets for drawing? It has fast become one of my favourite places for drawing, full stop, not only my favourite digital sketchbook. And honestly, it was kind of all I could do not just to skip filming this video and take it out and sit under the tree and draw somewhere really. It's because they've added this new Atelier app, and I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of it today. One reason I didn't used to love drawing on the Supernote was because of the pen and screen feel. It does feel more like a tablet which is designed for writing. One thing that's really nice about it is that they've actually managed to put the magnets for the cases way off at the top and the bottom, so you do get clean strokes all the way across the page, and the same cannot be said for other devices that have a magnetic case. I'm planning on releasing some of these drawings as little screensavers that you can actually buy or get off me some other way. So let me know what you think of that. This is a drawing of a carpenter, one of the early things that Van Gogh will have drawn. One thing it is missing is it is missing tilt in the drawing app. So although Atelier, the app, has much improved things, it's still missing some of those features that they could bring in. But it does now have the best set of brush tools that you can actually get. So the screen feel wasn't great for drawing, and also the pen tools weren't great for drawing, but now they've added a whole range of different pen tools, so I'm going to show them to you in this video and talk you through the way that I made those drawings and how I've used Atelier. And as you'll see, that tilt isn't such a big miss after all. So going back to our carpenter, the way that I've made this drawing is by using the layers, and so I'm going to run through the different layers that I've used. First of all, I drew in one of the lighter pencils. I think I actually used the hard pencil first. So you've got all these different range of pencils that you'd be used to. I started with one of the harder ones and worked up through to probably a 4B on this layer. And I've just sort of sketched out the thing. Then I've switched to a new layer and I've added some tone. And the tone I've used has been with the spray can tool. You've got two options for the spray can tool. Style 1 I think is a bit bigger than I think I need it for most of my drawings. And then lastly, I've added some really dark pencil lines on top. So if I just show you those pencil lines on their own, you can see there, that's the darkest pencil that you can use. And then my pen is the marker pen. Lastly. So that's great. It is great to have the layers, but it isn't the only ink tablet to have layers. The Remarkable 2 has layers, and so do Books devices. What I would really like to see someone bring is actual layer blending options, so where you can actually change the opacity and change how one layer blends with the layer beneath it. That would be really useful in terms of making finished artistic products. So let's go through the different pen tools options. So first is the pencil, and they are pressure sensitive, so I'll just try and write with them here. This is the 4H pencil. You see that is a very light pencil, hardly you'll see on the video I'm sure, and just getting progressively harder, which is just giving you a darker tone. And an HB pencil is the ones that you'll be used to. If you've ever used a pencil, you've almost certainly used an HB. The darker ones are the ones that we use in more artistic sketching, and the harder ones are the ones that we might use in graphical drawings, like architecture drawings. You must use dark pencil to get a full range of tones. So in realistic pencil drawings, it's really important that you do work up to and including the darkest pencils that you can get. Oh, and incidentally, the gesture erase doesn't work in Atelier. I don't know if there's a way to turn that on. You do have a whole bunch of different eraser types, which is very nice. So that's the pencils. Then you get some ink pens, and they've given this is the hatching ink pen. Just a very narrow pen. Very common way to build up tone. Thin ink pen, that's quite nice. The medium, the slow one there. So this is giving you a nice sort of wet ink kind of look. And thick, which is exactly what it says it is. So a nice range of different pencils and pens. Then the markers themselves, you've got the regular marker. Seems to be all one thickness. No, it does have a different thickness. Quite uniform really. Pressure sensitive marker. Okay, and lastly the pixel block, which just seems to be a constant thickness no matter what. Slightly rounded edges though. Probably that one will be my least used ever. And then what is really nice actually, and what I'm really getting into, is these kind of spatter spray textures. And what's nice about those is that you do have all different colours in those, and so you can change the darkness, not just by going over areas several times, but you can choose to shade in very light tones, just to give a bit of subtle texture and a subtle gradient of tone. So there's lots of good options there. I almost always am using the Style 2, which is the thinner one, although you could certainly cover a good area with Style 1. So you can get darker by going over certain areas, or you can use the darker tones. There's just a nice sort of wet, almost ink kind of spatter look to that. It gives a good texture, which I think has actually made my drawings really nice. And I think it's one of the things that I've been really enjoying about Atelier. Now you can in all of the markers use the colors, as you can in the pens as well. The ink pens or the markers do use the same set of colors. Let's put them back on black because I'm most likely to use those, to be honest, to give those darkest tones on the very top of my drawings. And the pencil, I doubt the pencil will change with color, but maybe it will. Yeah, it does appear to. Fine. So actually, I don't know why you'd ever want to, incidentally, because having a 8B lighter tone pencil is not really realistic. Not something that I will ever use. I think with pens, I'll just be leaving them on dark and using the different softness to give me the tonal range. So the nice thing is that if you're at all used to using real artistic mediums, if you're at all used to using real pens and pencils, I think you're going to find something in here that you're going to really get along with, and it's going to be a really natural conversion straight from those into using this device. It's great. So as I said at the top of the video, I think maybe that the Supernote ceramic nib is not really the best for drawing. So I did try some alternatives actually, and you can see in this video, I've been using the Remarkable marker, which is a really nice drawing marker. It's got much more of a pencil-like feel. It's not quite as scratchy as the ceramic nib, and also the Books markers are very nice as well. But I think I'm right in saying that these use exactly the same nibs anyway, which are the Wacom felt feel nibs. So you're not going to get much of a difference in terms of the actual screen feel with either of those. So you might choose to actually use a different marker other than the Supernote one itself. The last one I thought might work quite nicely would be the Staedtler Digital Norris Jumbo, although these are my least favorite nibs of all of the nibs that you can get, as they are quite soft. I mean, they're cool looking styluses, but not my favorite nib, and I think that's what matters really to give you that drawing feel. Probably see the pinch to zoom is not the most responsive thing in the world. So once again, with this boy with a spade, another Van Gogh drawing, I started with the hardest pencils, just worked up through from probably 2H through HB, probably to 2B here, then the spray can tone. You can see there just the darker areas of the image, then the darker pencil lines, some really dark spray can tone there. So I've actually used the lighter spray can tone on the lower layer and then the darker spray can tone on the top. And then finally, some pen marks to really bring the tone and to really bring the outline in. And I think that looks really, really good. So give it a go yourself, have a go working up through those layers and working through those tools. That's the way I suggest to do it. It is really great to draw on. Personally now, I can't wait for a full-size A4 Supernote, or even just to have this on the A5 side. It is coming to the A5X, and it will be there, of course, on the A5X2 when that is out. So that's really exciting to be able to draw on those larger sizes with these excellent tools that they've made. What I would suggest for Supernote is that they actually make their own drawing-centered stylus, maybe with the tagline, "For those who draw." That would fit in really well on it. This pen would be for those who write.